Welcome to today's video. We're going to do a book haul. I recently sold a bunch of books to a local used bookstore, so I got a lot of credit. Then they had a $5 warehouse sale, which means you put everything you fit into a bag and it's $5. I had a lot from the used bookstore. We're going to go ahead and go with that. This one is Falling by T.J. Newman. You've seen this in my quarterly stats. I had a digital copy of this, and the reason I bought this is because it was a 5-star. It's about a man who's a pilot. His family has been kidnapped, and then the plane's been hijacked. It has to choose between crashing the plane or saving his family. It was a 5-star. I loved it. So when I saw it at the bookstore for sale, I decided that I was gonna get that one. Another one I bought from the used bookstore because I had enjoyed it so much is Local Woman Missing by Barry Kubica. This was a 5-star for me. I read it at the end of 21. There's a woman who went missing many, many years ago, and then all of a sudden, years later, another woman and her daughter go missing in kind of the same area, and the hump for that. And the twist at the end, did not see that one coming. This one was a very good book. So those two were ones that I bought because I had read them and very much enjoyed them. I read Survivors by Jane Harper. It came in a book of the month. It was very atmospheric. It was good. It wasn't bad. I think I gave it a 3.5, 4 stars. I was curious about Jane Harper to see if I might like some of her other books more. At these books where they had The Lost Man. This is about a set of brothers where one of them goes missing. It's suspicious and all that it entails in kind of solving that mystery. The other one by Jane Harper I got was The Dry. This is actually a series called the Aaron Falk series about a federal agent, Aaron Falk, who goes back to his hometown after this murder of one of his friend and his friend's family trying to solve the mystery. Sarah Pinborough, Behind Her Eyes. A girl who finds out the guy she met at a bar is actually her new boss. Something kind of mysterious about how they met. I'm not sure if this is just a mystery thriller or maybe has a horror element to it. I read In a Dark, Dark Wood, and I enjoyed it. I wouldn't say I loved it, but I didn't have a bad time with it. I saw Woman in Cabin 10 by Ruth Ware. I heard this one's really good. It's about a woman who gets to go on a fancy cruise ship, and then I think she thinks she saw somebody go overboard and is trying to kind of alert them, but nobody's listening. A Good Marriage by Kimberly McCreight. The woman's a lawyer. She's starting to have marriage issues. Kind of what's going on with that. I don't know much about it, but I hear it's really good. And I did not get these from Book of the Month. These are all from the book sale, and they have a lot of Book of the Months there. So whoever in my town sells all their Book of the Months there, thank you. The Last Thing He Told Me by Laura Dave. This, I believe, won some awards. Maybe like a Goodreads mystery one year. I'm not sure, but I want to say it was on one of those. It's about a man who goes missing and then leaves a note for his wife to protect his daughter. We have The Mystery of Miss Christie by Marie Benedict. This is one about Agatha Christie going missing and the hunt for her. We have All the Light We Cannot See by Anthony Doerr. This is a World War II, I think it's based in France. There's two, I believe it's a young woman and a young man who eventually their paths cross, and they're trying to get a gemstone back to the ocean. There's occasionally World War II books I like. The Last Bookshop in London was one of them that I really enjoyed. Four Winds by Kristen Hanna. For some reason, I was thinking this is a romance book. I'm not really sure, but again, this is another book based during the war. This is the Great War, so I'm curious to see. The woman's older, not married, but wants to get married. Once There Were Wolves by Charlotte McConaughey. This is about a team of biologists in Scotland who go to release a set of gray wolves and all that entails. Apples Never Fall by Leanne Moriarty. It's about mother went missing. The main suspect is the father, and the kids have to decide whether, they turn it in, bring it up, and kind of the search for that. When the Stars Go Dark by Paula McLean. This is about a woman who investigates missing people back in her hometown. She now has to investigate a missing teenage girl. This is also one that intrigued me by the cover. Beautiful. Covers can do it for me. Damnation Springs by Ash Davidson. This book just like for example, it's not nearly as big as this book, but it just feels heavy. It's heavy with importance. So it's kind of them talking about just humans' effects on the world and the planet and all of those kind of things. The Woman in the Window by A.J. Flynn. It's about a woman who like never leaves her house, sees something suspicious, and now has to either venture out or not, but figure out how she can see what's going on. As the line says, it isn't paranoia if it's really happening, ... Those are all the books that I got at my used bookstore. I do have a lot of books right now that I've recently purchased. I do not normally buy this many books all at once. Oh, let me correct that. I did not buy these all at once. I bought them over a span of about 6 months. I have plenty of books that I can read. I won't be doing this on the regular, I guess is my point. I don't know if the video's up, but my most anticipated, The Bright Side Running Club. This is about a woman who was diagnosed with breast cancer. She built a running club and just kind of the bond of women who are facing a very sad situation. Finlay Donovan by Ellie Cosimano. Kind of a funny mystery about a woman who's mistaken for being a hit woman and kind of gets herself into all sorts of antics. I hear it's pretty funny. Our Wives Under the Sea by Julia Armfield. This is a horror. Again, another one that's on my most anticipated. About a woman who's come back from a deep sea mission and things are not the same between her and her wife. Black Chalk by Christopher J. Yates. So this book and If We Were Villains by M.L. Rio are like horror books about a game. Books and Lala has mentioned these quite a few times. She recently did a vlog on this. I don't remember what she thought about it, but they seemed extremely interesting. I love the game aspect of them, so that's why I picked those up. All Her Little Secrets by Wanda M. Morris was part of the Literally Dead book club, which is one of the reasons that I picked it up. I've mentioned this in my wrap-ups before. It was a 5-star for me. I've heard so many people talk about this book, And My Dreams Will Hold a Knife by Ashley Winstead, so I wanted to pick it up. I've heard it's okay, and then I've heard mostly really great things, but recently I've heard somebody say that maybe it was okay, but still has a lot of potential, so I'm very curious about that. This one is a YA, Hotel Magnifique by Emily J. Taylor. So this is one of those ones that I bought when I was traveling at a local indie bookshop. This had just released and the gentleman working there highly suggested it. It was on my TBR, so I bought it. It was kind of one of those, like, it's on my TBR. I'm very curious, but I'm hesitant because it is YA. A hotel shows up at midnight in random places. It's never ever the same, and so they get the opportunity to go work there, and maybe it's not as great. It kind of reminded me a little bit of the premise of Ladies of the Secret Circus, which is a fantastic book, by the way. I'm curious to see if this is as good as that one. A little bit different premise, a little bit different age group, so there could be, I anticipate it will be different, but that one was really good, so I liked the same kind of premise. Part of Your World by Abby Jimenez, which is a cute little romance. You've seen this in my Book of the Month blog. I unboxed this. This is what I got in my Book of the Month this month. Lighthouse Witches by C.J. Cook. This is a horror that incorporates witches, which sounds so fantastic. This has been highly anticipated. It did not come out this year. This came out in October of 2021, so last year, and it's been on my list. I used the excuse to buy this as I have a challenge planned that I'm hoping to incorporate this into. These Silent Woods by Kimmy Cunningham Grant. A gentleman and his daughter have lived in this isolated camp, and now they maybe aren't going to be so isolated in their camp, and kind of the repercussions of how everything has been going because of that choice to live kind of isolated, and maybe something not so good has happened. Insomnia by Sarah Pinborough, which I realized I have another the behind her eyes. But this is about a woman who can't sleep, and it happened to her mother. The fact that they have so little for synopsis on the inside cover has me very intrigued. The School for Good Mothers seemed very intriguing. So it's about a woman who has a daughter, and like the government can take the mother to like a special place to decide if they're going to be a good mother, and they have like merits based off of what this, like, as I've heard it said, this like Big Brother type system does. And the main character's like made a mistake or something. I don't know if she made a mistake in the thing, but I think she makes a mistake and then now they're put her in it. Bone Orchard by Sarah A. Mueller. Beautiful cover. Not exactly sure what this is about. I've read the synopsis, but I'm not really sure how to sum this up, but I know there's, as you can see, like plants and trees grow from bones, and I don't know, but it seems very interesting. I think it's like a fantasy horror maybe. So I read Gone Girl, loved it, watched the movie, and when I was talking to my husband, he said there was another movie similar-ish to Gone Girl that was a book. I have not watched, called A Simple Favor by Darcy Bell. He had seen the movie, said it was really good, thought that I would enjoy it. I decided to pick up the book because I want to read the book before I watch the movie. Because just like I said with Gone Girl was a great book. The movie was okay, nothing wrong with it, but the book was definitely better. So I want to have that excitement with the book and then go into the movie. Later by Stephen King was a horror nominee last year. And I believe he's a detective. It's about a guy who can either see ghosts or talk to ghosts, but there's kind of a paranormal aspect to it. And Stephen King obviously is a great writer. One of his books, Rose Madder, is one of my favorite books of his and of all time. Pet Sematary is great. The ending just makes me mad every time I think about it, but the book is good. So sometimes that's the thing with Stephen King. His endings just, they're questionable. How High We Go in the Dark by Sequoia Nagamatsu. I hope I'm saying that right. I believe this has a little bit of a sci-fi fantasy aspect to it, but essentially archaeologists studying things that have been frozen in the Arctic, and they come across somebody who is frozen. 8 Perfect Murders by Peter Swanson. So it's about this gentleman who like wrote a list of murder stories, and now their FBI's come because they have insights, or maybe they're suspecting him because they're just kind of too close to home. Behind Closed Door by B.A. Paris. This is kind of about a couple who's inseparable, but not because of the reasons like they love each other, but maybe because the husband's kind of controlling. So I'm guessing it's kind of like you get to see what goes on behind closed doors, and maybe it's not all perfect. Not the Witch You Wed by April Asher. This cover looks so cute. You know me, I love everything witch. And this looks like a really cute kind of romance, and I loved Payback's the Witch so much. I want more of that, even if it's not by the same author and stuff. So I'm kind of hoping that will kind of feed into that and make me kind of feel those vibes also.